year. So look. Whew. Alright, give me a second. Year. So look. Angels of Death is finally finished. We got something called a ONA. So it's original. It's like basically the original video, but a little bit different. Finally finished, and it ended on a really good note. I was actually surprised because I was wondering at first, why did they end it the way they did? We should have just got 16 episodes like planned, but we got something a little bit different. And I'm actually happy with the way it ended. I was only mad about one thing in particular. I feel like they should have showed off Rachel getting killed. They didn't do it. I guess they didn't want to make it too gruesome. They wanted to be a little bit more hopeful in the end, so I guess they changed it. Oh, ONA means original net animation. So pretty much, it's anime that's direct release to the internet. I guess they did this so it's like they could somehow extend the popularity, because I really wonder what made them decide to change their mind from being a what's good, nerve. We're just talking about Angels of Death, the ONAs. So yeah, I don't know why I decided to do ONAs instead of just doing like one OVA, but I guess it kind of worked out because we got a conclusion to the story for Angels of Death, and I'm actually pretty happy with it because everything that transpired, it made sense. So the pastor wasn't actually a bad guy. He just wanted to see what really makes someone a human, and he was saying in the end, humans essentially make gods, demons, all this stuff, and he just wanted to see a spectacle. And he realized that since the beginning, Zack was never really a god, even though he saw him that way, he treated him that way. Zack was always a human. He's probably the most human out of everybody in the entire show, but he didn't change on his own. He changed because Rachel made him change. And after seeing that, I was like, yo, this is actually a good conclusion. The last one was the best one, to be honest, because the first two felt like they could just be combined to make one OVA, and then the other two could have been the second OVA. It would have been complete, but hey, it all worked out. So yeah, Danny was out here trying to kill Zack. He almost killed Rachel. He was going through the motions, and he was like, it's not fair. He just wanted to be loved. He just wanted to feel like someone cares about him. That's why he was trying so hard with Rachel. But Danny was kind of a weirdo psycho, I want to say, because Rachel's 13. I'm pretty sure Danny's at least 30, 35. So even if something worked out, it wouldn't work out. And the way Rachel was, she doesn't really gravitate towards people. I'm pretty sure the only thing she loves is nothing. So that's his L right there. And the pastor, the last ONA made me really like him as a character, because when we really think about it, he wasn't a bad guy. He just did bad things. And then they just coincidentally made him seem like he was evil. But he's not really evil. He just wanted what a lot of people want. He just want to see entertainment at its finest. He wanted to prove that, hey, yes, people play God, but maybe you could play God for some type of reason. For, you know, a cause. Because I can't see him as an evil person no matter what. Because it's not like he did this to say, yes, I'm evil, embrace evil. I can play God, no one else can. No. He was only playing the role of God. He wasn't saying he is a God. He has to be worshipped. So that was pretty cool. And then Rachel at the end, she was in an actual mental hospital. She had a whole therapist that's not crazy. And they were just like, hey, Rachel, if you need anything, just let us know. But it was kind of sad because Rachel pretty much was in, what would you call it? Like one of those, you know, those psychiatric institutions where it's like, she could see outside, but she can't leave there. She was stuck there. And she was just like, yo, what happened to Zack? What happened to Zack? Because the way it ended, the building got destroyed. Zack barely got out there. He went to jail because he's like, all right, as long as she's alive, I don't care about the rest. They got to the hospital. Rachel got cured up. They put her in this institution so she can, you know, readjust to being a regular human. And at first, it seemed like it was working, but part of me was like, this is not the Rachel I know. Rachel's not good at expressing her emotions. How can she just be so calm after everything that happened? And what they did, they tried to make sure Rachel didn't know anything about Zack because they didn't want her to get traumatized, not realizing she really cares about Zack. So the therapist was like, all right, I'm not going to mention Zack. They weren't even trying to mention the fact that Zack was basically willing to die just so he could kill Rachel. He was just chilling, and it was like, all right, he admits to the murders because Zach is a criminal. Everyone find out that Rachel was this little girl where her parents got murdered, but they don't know that she done the murder in the first place. And they're like, all right, the psycho killer, he's messed up. He swears to all his other crimes, but won't say what he means to this girl. He's not telling us anything. All he's saying is he doesn't lie. That's weird. When the music started playing, actually made me emotional because just imagine. Zach and Rachel did all this for a promise, bro. Not a lot of people will go this far for a single promise. So, as Rachel's just chilling in his institution, seeing her therapist, she's just living life. You can see Rachel just still being the Rachel we know, which is, emotionless, not really saying how she feels. So her therapist sitting here like, hey, you're sleeping well, you're doing well. And she's just like, yeah, okay. All right, Rachel, come outside now. Okay, and she's looking outside, trying to learn anything. Because keep in mind, when this all happened, the only ones that were alive were Rachel and Zach. Because when the building finally collapsed, the only one left in there was the pastor and Danny. So Danny, before he died, he saw, as the glass broke, a picture of his mom. And that was kind of creepy, but I guess it makes sense. He only likes Rachel because Rachel reminds him of his mother, because they both have blue eyes. So that's why he's obsessed with Rachel. He doesn't really like Rachel because she's just Rachel. He likes Rachel for her eyes, which is really the creepiest thing I've heard anybody ever say about anybody else. So yeah. And in the pastor, he just watched it all happen. So he got crushed by a giant rock along with Danny. So as it's all happening, Zach was walking out the building trying to get Rachel out so they don't die. And Zach was just sitting here like, yo, she cannot die on me. I don't want to become a liar. I'm going to make sure she lives. So Zach complied, allowing himself to get, put in jail. And as it's all happening, you see Rachel just passed out. And then it turns into her being in the hospital. What I liked about this episode, the final one, it had the most beautiful transitions and had this nice film grain look to it. And it was really appealing to me. And I really got the feeling that Rachel and Zach are perfect for each other. They're not really a couple, but they're exactly what each other need. Zach just wanted to feel like he's not just a tool, a monster. He wanted to feel like he's human. He has a purpose. Rachel gave him purpose. Rachel felt like there's no point in her living. She can never erase her sins. She can never take back anything she done. So, if those two didn't have each other, I don't know what they would be doing, how they would feel about literally anything, to say the very least. And then, yeah, I was watching the final one. It was actually like the best one, because the other one, I wouldn't say it's bad. It just, I don't know, it didn't flow like how it was supposed to, because it felt like they left us on a cliffhanger, and they gave us the ONAs so we could say, hey, this is how it all ends. So, after Rachel looks at the moon again, which I noticed a lot of the stuff that happened in this episode, it was hinted within the opening, but the opening was kind of vague about it. So shout out to the opening for being so vague with everything. All right, so remember the opening, the scene where it's like Rachel is looking outside and you see like the blue moon and blue sky outside, and you see Zach also looking up and he looks all sad. It all comes forth in this episode, really showing us that, hey, this is really the lifestyle they live in or whatever, right? So, yeah, that was all happening, right? And then, what else happened? I'm trying to remember. Oh, yeah. So after I remembered all of that was from the opening hinted at. Can't get words out right now. So after I realized everything was hinted in the opening, I was like, yo, this is perfect. So Rachel is just sitting at the window, looking outside, because our therapy session started at night for some reason. But earlier, she heard some news about Zach. Like, Zach was going to get executed to death for his crimes because Zach killed a lot of people. And that's why he's in that building. So, to my understanding, that building was made so criminals could feel like they had a place of belonging. It allowed them to become angels of death, hence the title. Because that's how the pastor perceived them. They were angels, not really monsters or evil people. So, anyways, she hears that news, and then she finally reveals the truth. She couldn't really sleep all this time. She was lying to her therapist, and she feels uneasy. Like, she doesn't know how to feel. She's getting really depressed. So her therapist's like, hey, I have to walk you to your room. I can't just let you walk yourself. So Rachel, she's starting to walk back to her room. after looking at the blue moon for a little bit. So she sits there. She had a little monologue about, can't sleep. She's nervous. She feels depressed. I don't know, we hear a scream like a lady screaming, and we're like, yo, what's going on? And then, grah! Zach is back, and he's at Rachel's window. He broke the iron bars and the glass at the same time. And I was wondering, how did he do that? Because at the beginning of this episode and towards the later half of the last episode, his scythe broke, trying to help them escape and reach the top of this crazy building. So it's like he had the same scythe back. And he's like, hey, Ray, I remember my promise. I'm going to kill you. And she's like, wait, I thought you're supposed to be sentenced to death. What are you doing here? He said, okay, and I escaped. Now, remember the promise, Ray. You didn't forget, did you? And they're just getting super emotional, saying, Zach, she says Zach, it's hilarious. And then he's like, all right, let's go. So Rachel's out here crying, in her feelings. You see cop cars surround her institution, and then the music's playing. You know what time the music play, like the theme song or something. So she's like, come on. So Rachel is crying. She runs towards that window that Zach just broke, grabs his hand, and they're falling. And then she's like, Zach, please kill me. And he's like, all right, bet. But first, you gotta stop crying. I need to see you smile. And that's how the episode ended. And the kind of sad part about it, it kind of ended like, it showed Rachel getting killed. It was just like hinting that after they land, either Rachel will fall to her death or Zach's just gonna kill her. And then they show you the cast list, and then black screen, the music playing. So it was good, but overall, I feel like the last ONA was the best one, because the other three could easily be wrapped into one episode just based on the content alone. So in the first one, it was just Rachel and Zach finally trying to escape the building. And in the second one, Zach got over his fear of fire. Because the reason why Zach wears the bandages, his father set him on fire as a child because despite him and didn't like Zach as a child. And he got bandages from his mother. That's why Zach wears the bandages. And that's why Zach's so crazy, because he had a messed up childhood, right? So yeah, that's why Zach and fire are not the best of friends. And Zach, for the longest time in the show, couldn't cut steel. So the problem was, if he saw iron bars, he couldn't do anything. He would always just like hit it, and then the reverberation would just annoy him to give up. But because the building was on fire and collapsing, he had to step to the plate and learn how to cut through steel to save Rachel. So that's exactly what he did. And then that's what happened in like the first two episodes. And the later half of the second episode, he got through all the bars that was supposed to slow him down and stop him from escaping the church, right? Not the church, the building that has a church in it, right? So as he's running away with Rachel, Rachel's feeling weak, and Danny pops up. He learned hockey. No, it was his willpower, because it was hinted the way he learned how to cut through things. He only couldn't cut through he could never cut through steel because it was just a thing he just accepted, because the way Zach works, Zach can pretty much, when Zach wants to do something, he'll pretty much find a way to do it. But if he's just chilling, he's not going to try. So for the longest time, he had no reason to cut through steel. All he needed to do was just cut somebody and kill him. Plain and simple. That's how he got to escape jail for Rachel, because they had like at one part of that final episode, they were showing off, it looks like reporters talking about the whole incident, how they're uncovering the truth of everything. But what made me annoyed about it, half the time it was just you reading the text and then one person like saying what's happening, like, oh, ask a question, it's like, oh, we didn't tell Rachel about her killer because we don't want him attacking her. We have no doubt she got in the building, but we do know about her family, yada yada yada. I feel like they could have voice lined that with just anybody. So yeah, Danny was trying to kill Rachel because he was saying, it's not fair, I made you who you are, all I did was love you, but you never loved me back, so for that reason you deserve to die. And Zach, without Rachel you have no purpose, you don't serve any reason, you aren't anything. And that's why Danny was going crazy, had a little speech, and then Rachel was saying that she never wanted to live this entire time. She just wanted for a single moment to feel like she was alive, and then she just wanted to die. So that's why the promise meant so much. That's why her promise to Zach meant so much to her, because she doesn't want to feel like, oh, I'm alive, but I'm dead I'm alive, but I'm dead on the inside. That's how she pretty much feels all the time. That's why her eyes always look like she's just dead on the inside, because that's how she feels naturally. She's not good at her emotions. She's not really happy. She's just existing. So if Zach didn't come into her life, Rachel probably would have killed herself already. But the reason she didn't, she felt like her killing herself wouldn't do anything, because according to Rachel, that would make God happy. And she wants to die in a way where it's like, whoever she hurt in the past, all the stuff she did, she can be forgiven. Because like I said, old girl killed her parents. She did all this crazy stuff that a child shouldn't be doing. But in her defense, it wasn't like she planned on any of this happened. It kind of just escalated, because the way Rachel's parents were, it's like her mom was basically with her dad just to give her some sense of a stable family. But the thing is, her dad was just gambling off the money and being a drunkard all the time. And then when he got mad, he beat up her mom and her. And then if she would say anything to her mom, like, hey, I want a puppy. Hey, let's have a conversation. No one wanted to have a conversation. It'd always be, Rachel, go to your room. Rachel, this is all your fault. If it wasn't for you, I could leave. I would be free. Those type of things. So when I saw that, I finally got why Rachel was the person she is. If you have that kind of upbringing, you're not going to be emotionally stable. You're not going to be a happy child. So Rachel just wanted a perfect family. So that's why she learned her mom had a gun. She just used the gun, killed her father, because she really witnessed her father kill her mother, and it was like, hey, you're next. And if she didn't grab the gun at that time, he would have killed her too, and act like she did something wrong. So all in all, Angels of Death was an amazing series. It got me to appreciate horror and, psychological trauma to a whole different level. The ONAs, like I'm saying, if we're going for like the complete picture, I'll give it a solid B+, because when we put it all together, it gives you the full story of Rachel, Zach relationship, and exactly what this building meant to the cast. So this building for Rachel, you could say it was like her training ground. It helped her think about who she really is, what she want to do with her life. Rachel's not going to become this nice, normal child. No, possible. But if she's at least trying to find a reason to live, reason to die, it's just a start. And Zach, he may be a murderer, but keep this in mind, he doesn't lie. And if he really wants something, he'll go for it in life. So if we think about it, Rachel and Zach are like a dynamic duo. Zach is a psychopath who speaks his mind. Rachel is the girl where she's not good at communicating and lacks emotional stability. So it's a perfect match in heaven, if you ask me. So all in all, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I decided to watch ONAs. At first, I was kind of worried because I was sitting here like, didn't they kind of cheat us out of the experience of Angels of Death? Because initially, we're supposed to get 16 episodes. So that meant we would have got these ONAs as episodes. But if I think about it, I don't think it would flow the same way. They have the same length as a regular episode of Angels of Death. But I think I like them better the way they are, because we didn't have to worry about, okay, you're watching the episode. Oh, look! The theme song is playing. Episode's about to end. Next week. And then you know how Angels of Death is with previews. There's no previews. It just kind of ends when it wants to. And that's what they do. I love the art of the show. The music was great. I really love the opening. It's so good, bro. It's so good. Like, every time I saw the opening, I didn't feel like skipping it. I really appreciate the series. I do hope I can find another good horror show like this, because Angels of Death, I'm happy it ended today, officially, the ONAs, because that way it's still part of Halloween, or at least, the month of Halloween at the end of the day. So yeah, if you guys seen Angels of Death, what do you think about it? Did you watch the ONAs? You didn't? Why? If you did, why not? I'm curious to find out. Also, what's your favorite show so far this season? We have a lot of good stuff here. I have not watched Reincarnated Slime, SS Gridman, but there's a reason why. I'm not a fan of mechas. It's not for me. And I'm not really in the mood to watch like a slice of life type show like reincarnated slime. I may be wrong about it, but it's just not the move right now. So after I'm done this stream, the plan is to finish Baccano, get further in Idolmaster, and then hopefully before we know it'll be Monday, and then I can do my podcast / stream for the World Trigger chapter. Technically the chapter is already out on Manga Stream on Manga Park, but I want to support the official release when it comes to Viz, which is going to happen this Monday. So if you're wondering why the World Trigger podcast I'm calling Link Trigger On did not air yet, that's the reason why. But hey, I said everything I wanted to say. So if you enjoyed this, you know what to do. Hit the like button. Turn on the like button. Subscribe. Share the video. And yeah, I could say so much more, but my crew needs me.